I mean, damn is all I have to say after watching the second to last episode of the Do-Over Damsel. The ending definitely sideswipes you because when you see last week that the sister ended up betraying, most people probably assume, I mean, at least I know I did, that whatever she's doing, she must think is the only way to save her brother. Because nothing about her actions say, I want to see my bro dead. Did I think whatever she was doing was actually going to save? No, but I could understand there could be an explanation about a sister being stuck between a rock and a hard place. And the reveal of the uncle, and I really like this reveal because it makes the uncle not feel just like an evil villain who's like power hungry, but more so when you think about how bloodlines and, rulers were back in the day. I mean, there's still monarchies out there even in our own world. It's interesting when you look at it as Hades being a false dragon emperor, because we know he's not a false dragon emperor because not only does he see Rav, but no one else sees Rav other than, well, the do-over damsel herself. She can't right now, mind you, but you get my point. The idea of correcting a lie, protecting your bloodline, it's not evil. It's probably not the right family direction to go, but from his point of view, and I think from most people's point of view in this world, eliminating a false emperor, all things considered, keeping the bloodline pure and not disgracing your bloodline makes a lot of sense. But it's really interesting because we know at the start, a big thing was there was this curse, right? And the curse was doing everything in its power to eliminate his siblings when they came of age, or they came to a certain point that would be a threat. So it's really interesting because at the end of the day, despite at face value Hades not being related to them by blood, he is actually chosen and is the descendant of probably the proper Dragon Emperor, and that curse was doing everything in its power to eliminate any potential threats. The way everything just came full circle is mind-blowing, but I gotta give the bro props. Despite everything being thrown, all he wanted to do was protect his bro, one way or another. Wild episode. I got full live reactions over on Patreon if you want to see my mind break in real time to these insane revelations over there exclusively. So, we got one episode to go. As of now, it's confirmed to be coming out on Christmas. I'm not sure if it'll get delayed or anything like that or come out early, but gonna be a pretty crazy final episode if you ask me. So, there was a couple of big questions I had walking into this episode. One, the bear. Were we going to touch upon that at all? And how did she survive fireball of death and falling to her death? Let's get the most important question out of the way, the bear. So after the credits last week, if you watched, there was a giant stuffed bear that had laser eyes. That was the bear that Hades gave to Jill some weeks back, and there's a little gag after the credits in that episode of Rav having like a bandage over his crotch area, and I forgot at the time, but, I made a joke about how it looked like we ripped his dick off. Turns out, probably some feathers or scales, whatever it is, and Hades built this concoction that was meant to protect Jill. But could you imagine just casually sleeping with, like, this stuffed bear and his laser eyes go off? Like, it feels risky, that's all I'm saying. And then Chicken Little too, I guess, lived. Fantastic work there, I suppose. And while we didn't really see what happened between the end of last episode and the beginning of this episode, as we just kickstart Jill looking up on she's like, why the hell is there a puddle of water on the ceiling? It's just so different. We can probably assume she's immune to fire, given she's, the dragon consort. But we have this big-ass conversation with this big-ass black dragon who we codenamed Steak. Now, didn't appreciate the name, but I don't think you're beating the steak allegations. And there's an egg. That egg is most likely going to be the dragon she's wanted. She mentioned something about, like, black and gold, right? That was what she wanted or something in that area. I'm not sure if we're going to get to see it by the end of the next episode. Probably not, but I wouldn't mind a little tease of that dragon. I'm not sure if it would be a situation where only she would be able to see said dragon, similar to Rav, in terms of what they can see. But either way, people now have a talking dragon that they can interact with. Steak means business. And honestly, I like the conversation between the two. I thought it was, I don't know, I'm a fan of those moments where it's like, your character gets separated from the main group, shit's not looking good, either they're imprisoned, this is going to be their death sentence, or, whatever it is. You see it a lot in video games, epic RPGs, a lot of story narratives do this. The idea of, like, being pushed away from everyone, having to overcome some sort of trial or hurdle, and then coming out even stronger. And that's exactly what she did. And honestly, I really like the attack animation from this dragon. So the best way to describe it is anyone who's ever watched Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Monsters, the way Red Eye's Black Dragon uses its attack, I forget the exact name, it's something like Inferno Fireball or something like that is what Joey will call it in the show. The way it's like purplish black with a little hint of red, that's what this dragon was doing, and it looked awesome because, you know, every dragon has fire breath or, you know, some generic ass attack. Not this dragon, that shit looked cool, and it was all hand drawn. Was there 3D dragons in the episode? Yes, especially when we got outside, we saw multiple dragons flying around. And while Jill's sometimes animation was just kind of like PNG jumping around, we got 2D hand-drawn dragons a majority of the time. I ain't gonna be complaining about the production. I mean, you could if you want to nitpick, but when the big fish are looking that damn good, you gotta give props where props is due. So, like I said at the start of the video though, I do like what they did with the uncle. I disagree with the uncle. I think the uncle's still in the wrong, and knowing everything we do and our interpretation of events, still paints Hades as the Dragon Emperor. But when you look at it from a world that's all about bloodlines and, you know, ascending the throne via birth order and all that other, I think it's a dumbass system to begin with. I think it's always been a dumbass system. It should be the person who's most capable. But when you look at it from their perspective, this isn't really a traitor overthrowing the true leader. It's this person's not even in our bloodline. You can kind of see where they're going with it. And when you put yourself in the sister's point of view, did she make a mistake? Technically, yes, but from her point of view, she's doing everything she can to protect the brother. And I think this is actually a really good explanation because I mentioned it in my video last week of how the scene of her hugging her siblings to then her betraying us, it felt like such a disconnect. Like, what could possibly be any motive? Like, obviously it would be to protect her brother. Like, that was crystal clear, but what could be told? Oh, your brother's not actually the heir to the throne. I could see why she's like, damn it, I have no choice other than betray him, but hopefully we can let him live a normal, and that was our thing. He would live a normal life, which would make sense if he was not actually the Dragon Emperor and he wasn't meant for the throne. It all lines up. Mistakes were made, but I don't think we need her head on a stake like some people were calling last week. Great episode though, mind-blowing reveals. Crazy stuff. I think this show's been a bit of a roller coaster quality-wise in terms of the overall narrative. I think at its worst, it's been fun. At its best, it's had mad potential. And I gotta be honest, the way they're handling lore and breakdowns in the past couple of episodes, definitely reaching a lot more potential than, you know, I was thinking it was going to around the midway point. Let me know your thoughts down below, though. We got one episode left, and seems like they're going out with a bang. Your thoughts? Leave a like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new around here, of course, ring that bell, and like I mentioned, we got those full live reactions over on Patreon, and hey, while you're over there, I'll also give you a video shout out. So today we got Francis Mandra, Neko Chibi, Jacob Darkfire, Min Young, June 96, Miguel Frances, Ramirez, Dark Lord Dashi, and we also have Kim Andre Olsen. So I appreciate the support, everyone. Please take care, and y'all have a good one.